morning I unlocked my new apartment door, it was there. A folded napkin. 2 perfect creases. No words. My hand shook so badly I dropped the keys. Metal clattered on tile. The sound echoed down the hall, too sharp, too empty. I bent to grab them, but my fingers slipped. It felt like my own hands didn't want me to open the door. I kept staring at the napkin. It looked plain, harmless, just a piece of paper. But in the hallway, it wasn't just a napkin. It was something else. Weeks earlier, I saw her for the first time since the breakup. In a cafe. Not at the counter. Not chatting with friends. Not even pretending to be busy. She was in my seat. The corner by the window where I always sat. And in front of her, my order. Oat milk medium roast, no sugar. Her long dark hair tied back. That gray coat buttoned to the throat. Her pale face turned toward me. Eyes locked on mine. She didn't blink, didn't smile. Didn't even touch the cup. I froze in the doorway, stuck between stepping forward and running out. The chatter of the cafe dimmed around me. I felt every breath push too shallow in my chest. Finally, I turned and walked out. Didn't touch my own drink. Didn't look back. My chest was tight the whole way home. My name is Tyler, and that was Kaitlyn. I dated her for 8 months. At first it felt good. She was fun, spontaneous, always pulling me out of my small routines. But after a while it changed. She didn't like when I wanted a night in. She wanted me with her constantly. Texts piling up if I didn't answer fast enough. Calls if I stayed late at work. It stopped feeling exciting. It started feeling clingy. When we broke up, it wasn't quiet. It was loud, angry. The kind of breakup where you swear it's final. I told myself it was done. But little things started to happen that made me feel watched. A week later, I tried a different cafe, farther away, different street. A place I thought she couldn't know. On the table I always chose, a folded napkin, 2 perfect creases, blank. One morning I found it waiting before I even sat down. The barista told me a woman had been sitting there for nearly an hour. She hadn't ordered anything, just watched the door. I asked what she looked like. Long dark hair, gray coat. I didn't need more than that. The room tilted, every sound felt far away. I turned toward the window. Across the road, a gray SUV with 1 dim headlight. She hadn't guessed. She had followed, and she wanted me to see it. I started to change things. I took different routes, went to new cafes, tried to be smaller, but the feeling didn't stop. Once, while running the wooded trail I'd used for years, I felt it, like eyes on the back of my neck. I stopped and scanned the trees. The trail was empty, no footprints, just leaves shifting in the wind. The silence made my skin tighten. Even when I saw nothing, I felt seen. One night after work, I was driving home late. The roads were quiet, almost empty. Every few blocks, I checked my mirror. The SUV was there again. 2 cars back. When I turned, it turned. When I slowed, it slowed. I gripped the wheel until the leather dug into my palms. Sweat made it slick. My pulse was too loud in my ears. I pulled into a gas station, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. The SUV rolled past. As it slid under the streetlight, I saw her face in the windshield. Empty, focused, like she wasn't even driving, just watching. Later that week, in the parking lot outside my building, I heard it again. Footsteps. Behind me. Matching mine. When I stopped, they stopped. I turned, rows of shadow and metal. At the far end, a coat vanishing behind a sedan. Hair trailing loose, then gone. Kaitlyn. My hands shook. The keys slipped twice before I got the door open. The slam of the car door felt too loud, like it might draw her closer. The calls began soon after. Blocked numbers, always late at night. When I answered, silence. Sometimes a faint breath. Other times, the sound of distant traffic, like the call came from a moving car. Then the line went dead. Those silences felt heavy, like a message without words. That's when I told HR. Karen slid an envelope across the desk, her hands slow, cautious. "Maintenance found this by your door," she said. Inside, a coffee receipt. Oat milk medium roast, and a torn scrap of paper. My name scratched deep into the fibers. I asked about cameras. She hesitated. "There's a blind spot outside your unit," she said. That night, I stared at the strip of shadow under the lens, wondering if she was standing there, listening. Friends started to notice odd things too. I met Jake for a beer one evening. Halfway through, he set his phone down on the table. The screen showed a missed call from a blocked number. I picked up, he said. It was Kaitlyn. She asked what time you usually get home. "What's going on, Tyler?" Hearing her name from his mouth made my stomach drop. It wasn't just me anymore. She was reaching into the people around me. Then the digital signs began. Kaitlyn didn't post much herself, but she started reaching backward, liking old photos connected to me. Birthdays, family gatherings, even my grandmother's funeral. Then my sister called me one night. Her voice was casual, almost curious. "Tyler, I noticed Kaitlyn is liking old pictures of you. Are you still together?" She didn't know what was happening. To her, it was just a question. To me, it was proof. Kaitlyn was reaching through people close to me, trying to stay present in my life. It was quiet, methodical, and it made me uneasy. I bought a motion camera for my door. One night it caught a figure moving down the hall. A coat, the same stiff gait, stopping at my door. Her head turned slowly toward the lens, face pale in the glow. Then she bent down. The next morning, another napkin. I called the police. The officer was patient, but clear. He said I needed a direct threat, something violent before they could act. Save timestamps, receipts, camera clips, witness statements, he told me. They'd watch for escalation. His words were steady, but they weren't a rescue. So I met a lawyer. We built a file, napkins, receipts, grainy clips, screenshots of calls, the Instagram trail. He filed for a temporary order. For a while I felt safer, but the order didn't stop her. She just changed tactics. If one way drew too much attention, she tried another. Messaging friends, asking about neighborhood events, showing up at cafes just far enough away to seem normal, but close enough to be seen. The pattern bent. It didn't break. I tried not to be dramatic. Some people told me to go public, do an interview, shame her, but I didn't want a spectacle. I wanted the law to work. The temporary order gave a little relief, but the law moves slow and it needs proof. I kept the file and added pages, camera clips, receipts, silent calls. We brought them to court, showed the pattern. The judge signed a paper telling her to stay away. That paper helped me sleep a little better, but it didn't stop the quiet things. Sometimes I felt weak, alone. The detective called with updates. He told me they had other cases, that police had to choose how to spend their time. "We are watching for changes," he said. "We will act if something crosses a line." That line was clear in his voice, but thin in life. The story didn't feel finished. The courtroom was slow, and a judge's paper isn't a shield you can feel at night. So I learned to sleep with the blinds down, leave motion lights on, stop leaving notes, stop telling people where I'd be. I learned to live around fear. After a while, I moved to another city. A new apartment with blank white walls. A job at an insurance company where no one knew me, where every day was paperwork and routine. I thought the distance, the anonymity would keep me safe. For months, nothing happened. No calls, no napkins, no SUV waiting outside. I started to believe maybe it was over. Maybe I had finally outrun it. Until the morning, I unlocked my new front door. And there it was. A folded napkin. 2 perfect creases. Blank.